Over the past 8 years, I spent over $1 million on Upwork freelancers, but now I've stopped hiring there altogether. Here's why. An Upwork freelancer took over $20,000 from my business. Now, it is my fault, but I'll show you how it happened, how she got away with it, how Upwork's broken system facilitated it, and what I've changed since then. Here's the backstory. So back in 2020, I had hired a freelancer to do some PR work for my company. And so she did her job really, really well. I was super happy with the outcome. And so, job well done, Tina. Or was it? Now, it's important to know that at that time, I had about a dozen freelancers active on Upwork payroll. So basically, there's invoices coming in every single week. You just get an email and it's like, hey, here's how much you have to pay. So normal thing, I'm like, okay, we're finished. We're going to move on. Thanks for your work, Tina. And we just move on with our business. Now, fast forward to 2026. I'm on vacation this 1 week and we didn't have that much that was, going on as far as work activity. But our invoice amount that Upwork sent in the email, it felt like it was a little bit off by a few $100s. So I'm like, what's going on here? That's kind of weird. So I look at the invoices and I look beneath at what is each individual freelancer billing for. And so I see that this particular week, this girl who had finished her work in 2020 had charged $200. This was the end of 2025. And so I'm like, what the hell is this? So I look into the invoices from the previous week and lo and behold, there was a charge there from her as well. And then prior week, again, another charge. I keep looking at every single one of these weeks, and this is very traumatic for me. I see that she has been secretly charging these small amounts every single week for 5 years. I'm sick to my stomach. I'm mortified at this. And I'm like, oh my God, how did this happen? And really losing it. So I start looking at the screenshots and I'm like, what is she actually doing? Because she was on an hourly contract and she's got to track her time. So what is going on here? I know how this works. She was using the Upwork time tracker for false or inflated work. Now, I don't want to say that it was entirely fraudulent, but there was absolutely, most definitely no benefit to my business whatsoever. I had not even sent a message to her at all in 5 years' time. So I'm like, God, how bad is it? I do an export of all of the invoices and run the math in a spreadsheet, and I see that she has billed over $23,000 plus fees. And I feel like I've been punched in the stomach. So I immediately message her and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Why are you still charging considering we stopped this job years ago? There's no way that she doesn't know who I am or, why I'm reaching out to her. She gives me absolutely no response. And so I'm like, no, this is not okay. I escalate and I get in touch immediately with Upwork support. With Upwork support, I'm a client that they can see on their end that has spent over $1 million. So it's not we're some nobody business and it's oh my God, somebody's taking money from me. No, it is not that. It's literally I've hired dozens of other freelancers, but the response that I got from Upwork left a lot to be desired, let's say. They were absolutely no help at all. They begged me to not initiate chargebacks, which I'm like, why would I not do that? This is crazy. She has literally taken money from our business. But Upwork was like, no, please don't do the whole chargeback thing. I don't know if they just didn't want me to get money back from them or what. I don't know. I can't, hypothesize as to their motivation for that. But as a client, to be honest, you deserve the money back, no? Especially when you have had literally zero benefit and you can see from every single one of the screenshots that clearly there is nothing here. Wild to me. I go through the dispute process. The dispute leads to absolutely nothing. And so I'm like, Upwork, what am I supposed to do? They're like, sorry, we have nothing that we can do for you. We can't refund you anything. And then I asked them, I'm like, okay, so what am I supposed to do here? They're like, nothing that we can do to help you with. And so I asked him, I'm like, am I actually able to sue this person for theft, basically? And Upwork told me, sorry, you're basically on your own. You can try suing her directly. And I'm like, are you like, what? Now, it is my fault for not checking every single invoice. But the fact is, every single week, I'm getting a thing that like these charges, they're all buried. So if you have more than one freelancer that you are hiring, then technically this could be happening to you. There's no heads up from Upwork along the way whatsoever saying, hey, by the way, this person has been charging you and you haven't sent a single message to one another in 5 years. Just, hey, here's your weekly invoice. We're going to be taking it from your account. And by the way, when there's a problem, yeah, don't charge it back, please. What do you think I did, right? But the only thing that I could even charge back was like a couple $100. Unreal. This part is especially maddening considering Upwork's insistence that you gotta use Upwork messages for contract-related communications. So it's pretty depressing. And honestly, at this point, I'm feeling absolutely betrayed, especially because these are not new things. These are like the broader issues that I have brought up directly to Upwork in past interactions, directly with some of their teams, including the fact that their product has fallen behind and they are the only tech company that I know without a report a bug button. And especially considering that product, Upwork is also too expensive for what it is. On the freelancer side, your fees are up to 15%. On the client side, your fees are up to 5%, plus the fact that if you want a job as a freelancer, you got to pay Connect. Hiring on Upwork is also a headache. Now, I have had to deal with, in certain instances, a stack of over 140 either copy-pasted or AI-slop applications. And, we can tell. And that was within just a 24-hour period for a single job. Now, if you're a business owner, you don't have time to go through 140 applications that are 99% slop. I just want the one person that is going to be perfect fit for that job. And then when you do hire them, Upwork makes managing people a headache because in order to not get taken for over 20 grand, for example, you need to spend half an hour every week per person that you hire, micromanaging their work diary and just making sure and spot checking everything that they have done and just micromanage them instead of actually running your business. You become like a micromanage king. All of this means that Upwork clients are leaving. Clients like me, because I stopped hiring on Upwork because there's better platforms out there. I wanted a platform that is actually flexible, that uses AI to help me manage my freelancers instead of just like standing in my way, that is going to show you people that are not only going to get the job done, but who are actually going to be a long-term fit for my company without having to put, hey, write Blackboard at the front of your application. A platform that's going to let me show my freelancers that I actually care beyond just giving them money and that delivers value at a lower cost. So since that incident, I have totally switched over to goLance. Now you should know that goLance is a sponsor of this channel, but they did not pay me to say any of this. This is all what I think, what I have seen, and what I believe. I am a user of their product and I like it. I like it better. Here's why. Because first off, goLance is flexible. Now, I just moved one of my freelancers over to goLance, and that freelancer, we always wanted to do a thing where you just get that one scheduled monthly payment. But for whatever reason, Upwork just never had that capability. They always wanted to do it on like a weekly basis. Not a problem with goLance. And if I need something or I actually have a suggestion, then goLance's team actually listens and they want the feedback, both from freelancers and from clients. It is like a totally different experience versus, before. Now the management is also much, much easier. So I'm not going to get screwed by someone who's trying to just like fly under the radar and just invoice, right? Of course, I could pay my freelancers directly, but I want some tools and a little bit of accountability to make sure that I'm getting what I paid for, but it needs to be easy. So goLance has custom AI called Mango that allows me to basically just vibe check my team, keep tabs on their work, and stay up to date with them without having to spend hours like micromanaging every little thing. And goLance's AI even identifies anything that is unusual or weird stuff going on in the work diary. So basically, I never would have lost 20 grand if I had been using goLance back then. As far as cost, goLance is not only significantly cheaper, it is a totally different perspective. So as far as freelancers, you don't have to pay to apply to jobs, and clients don't have to pay to make payments. There's just a simple fee of 7.95% in total that can be shared between the freelancer and the client. You can have the freelancer take some and the client take some, or the freelancer can say, hey, listen, I take it all on my back, and client, you pay 0% extra, whatever. Or as a client, you can say, hey, listen, I want to pay my freelancer full on, net payment, and I'll take the fees on my own back. It is a totally different approach to the whole fees thing. Now, as far as the cost, yes, lower cost is great, but as a business owner, it is really about the additional value that I get. So here's where things have a little bit of a twist with goLance. It's about long-term fit, not just like a hired gun. goLance uses its AI matching to assess whether a particular freelancer is even going to be a cultural fit. So essentially, we are pulling the I hired somebody bad, or I have to do a test hire for 15 different people to see who's actually going to be doing this work very well. All of that is out the window. And for me, it's extremely important to have the right person on my team. I only want to hire them if I don't ever want to fire them, because it is expensive and is annoying to keep having to train people over and over. And goLance has developed a tool so that when I'm looking at candidates, I can actually search and use as a filter who is going to be the type of person and have the personality that I want for that particular job, so that I know that when I hire them, they're going to be a good fit for my specific business and our specific company culture for the long term, that I'm not going to have to keep hiring and keep training again and again with all these different people. Here's another thing that just totally blows my mind. goLance has this thing called GoPoints. And as a freelancer, I wanted something like this for years. With GoPoints, with every single dollar that one of your freelancers earns, then they're going to accumulate travel points that they can use for real travel worldwide. And I think that it is pretty incredible. As a client, you can even send your freelancers like a bonus in the form of points as like a thank you for completing a big project or job well done. I have wanted this for so long, and I think that it's awesome. There's a ton more that goLance is building and releasing, but these are just the things that stand out to me personally that make working with freelancers actually easy. These are the things that made me switch and start moving my freelancers over to goLance. So I'm not surprised at how fast goLance is growing, because honestly, it already has all of the features that I had been begging for years. Now, if you want to jump on goLance as well, then come join us. If you want to support the channel, then use the link down in the description and it helps us out. I'll see you over there.